Earlier this week, Russian forces launched a massive strike on the energy infrastructure of so-called Ukraine. One of the hits hit the Kyiv hydroelectric power plant. 2 out of 5 generator transformers were hit there. In Vinnytsia region, an electrical substation of the same name came under fire, where a 750/330 kilovolt auto transformer was destroyed. This created problems for the entire energy system of the country, as this substation connects the South Ukrainian Khmelnytsky and Rivne NPPs. Near Zhytomyr, 2 open-air auto transformers at a local substation were hit. Their destruction caused significant power supply problems in the administrative center of the region. In Odessa region, a missile strike struck an open-ended auto transformer at the Usatovo 330 substation. There are also signs of hitting the protective structure, and a group of 330 kilovolt high-voltage circuit breakers was destroyed. Another was damaged. In turn, Ukrainian formations launched several massive UAV launches at Russia's rear regions. In Rostov Oblast, the Atlas oil depot of the Rosreserve was attacked, resulting in a fire at the facility. Another Rosreserva enterprise was attacked in Kirov Oblast, where drones hit the Zenit Combine. A fire also broke out on the territory of the facility, but it was eliminated in a timely manner. At the end of the week, the AFU launched over 150 UAVs in 16 regions of the Russian Federation, most of which were intercepted by air defense systems. Nevertheless, enemy drones hit the territory of MNPZ, as well as Kashirskaya and Konakovskaya GRES. The situation remained tense in Kursk region, where the AFU continued to transfer reinforcements. In the Glushkovsky district, the enemy was striking at AFU positions and crossings, as well as preparing for a possible offensive. In the Sudzhansky district, Russian troops repelled several attacks by Ukrainian armored groups, including in the Malaya Lokhnya, Nechayev section. And on the southern flank, the situation in Cherkasskaya, Konopelka, and Makhnovka became somewhat clearer. The settlements are occupied by the AFU. The situation was difficult in Koronevo district, where the enemy did not stop attacking both Koronevo itself and nearby villages. Nevertheless, the Ukrainian formations managed to make some advances to the south, occupying Byakhovo and Viktorovka. In the Slobozhanska direction, the enemy made several attempts to break through the state border, but without success. One of them took place south of the Nekoteyivka checkpoint, where the AFU was stopped by concentrated artillery fire. In the Kupiansk-Svatovi direction, Russian forces occupied the northern part of Sinkivka. The assault troops were also able to expand their zone of control north and west of Peshan. Localized fighting continued in the Lymansk direction without significant attempts to advance. The sides exchanged artillery strikes and conducted mutual reconnaissance. In the Seversk direction, the configuration of the front has not changed significantly over the past week. Russian troops attacked east of Verkhnekamenka, but failed to advance. In the Artemovsk direction, Russian assault troops tried to advance in the direction of Grigorivka and fought in Kalinivka. Meanwhile, in Chasiv Yar, the main clashes were still taking place on the outskirts of the Oktyabrski and Novi neighborhoods. In the Oleksandro-Kalinivka direction, the Russian forces continued their assault on the Dzerzhinsk agglomeration. The greatest successes were achieved in Druzhba, where the frontline troops were able to advance towards the northwestern outskirts of the settlement. The situation was developing most dynamically in the Pokrovsk direction, where the Russian forces liberated more than 10 settlements. In particular, Russian troops occupied Novogrodovka and also engaged in fighting for Selidovo. On the southern flank, the Russian armed forces also succeeded in liberating the territory up to 𝐔𝐤𝐫𝐚𝐢𝐴. Against this background, the AFU began at least a partial withdrawal of forces from Nevelskoye in order to avoid encirclement. In the Donetsk direction, Russian forces resumed their offensive toward Kurakovo, where the enemy had set up a large stronghold. The Russian forces' command is moving equipment to 𝐒𝐤𝐫𝐚𝐢𝐴 to further assault the Ukrainian forces' positions. In the South Donetsk direction, Russian attack aircraft were able to liberate most of Konstantinovka, and southwestward, the enemy was completely knocked out of the territory east of the highway O0532 and north of the Ikoryanaia beam on the way to Vodyanoye. On the Vremivka direction, Russian forces have expanded their zone of control east of Urozhainoye. The Russian forces also made some advances north of Priutnoye, pushing the enemy back from their positions near the water reservoir. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the Ukrainian command was pulling additional forces to the vicinity of Primorskoye. Apparently, the enemy is preparing for a possible offensive towards Vasilyevka. In the Kherson direction, Ukrainian formations made another attempt to land on the Kinburn Spit. Some of the enemy's boats were sunk, and the AFU group that managed to land was covered with concentrated fire.